Hello? Hello. I hope my hellos cover up for the last minute fiddling with the control panel. So here we are today. Dinosaur news. We try and keep a positive upturn with all the goings on for whites around the globe. We're fed up and are standing up this Saturday, the 15th of March, the White Day. So here we are, Dinosaur News, March the 13th. Supposedly the last cold, deep cold day of the year. Last night was rough again. I had to go out and get 20 liters to do me for quite a while of fuel oil. I pour my own. I can't afford a tanker truck at $400 a drop or whatever, plus a couple of space heaters. So I'm sharing this with you, those of you out there who have had a rough winter with the fuel bill as well. So what's the good news? What's the spark for the day? Well, I was going to start with the mayor of Toronto situation compared to, say, the cities in the motherland, Great Britain and Australia, New Zealand, etc. But that's not a spark of joy, of hope, of happiness for our cause. So I think I'll start with what was going to be the latter part of the show. Conservatives. I know in America there's a lot of friction between various brands of conservatives in the political arena, that's for sure. Some Republicans might as well be super liberals, etc. And well, not so much up here in Canadaland. This is something a lot of American white patriots and perhaps some of you patriots in Mother Britannia aren't aware that the government here, a little bit like the Tea Party, they talk soft, but they have done a bit. Okay, what I am thrilled about, just a short while ago, while still getting some points for the show today, there are action groups, of course, behind Western political parties, so-called parties. So behind Harper's Conservative Party, Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada's party, are different connections and lobby groups and forces. So one powerful lobby group is set up by Preston Manning out west, a Westerner. Now a lot of you may know the name, some may not. His father, Ernst Manning, ran the social credit government back in Alberta decades and decades ago. So anyway, his son, Preston Manning, sponsors what's called, okay, where are we here? The Manning Networking Conference. Manning Networking Conference. And it's a sea of right-wing conservatives. Needless to say, a sea of white faces as well. But it was inspiring. It takes a lot to inspire me. That's why I know a lot of you get tired of my reiterating this point to do the shows. I'm just hoping the flavor hits me, that it becomes routine but exciting. It's hard each day to keep the enthusiasm going. But it doesn't take much when we see some positiveness out there in the real world. So this Manning Networking Conference was again on this CPAC. It's mixed up with some other political setup, I know. But it's Cable Public Access Canada dot something. And you can watch these different political aspects. They tune into everything, whether it's a birthday party in the liberal mess or whatever. And so they've covered this Manning Networking Conference. So just when I clicked it in, there's Mark Steyn, who was one of the writers who fought against the Canadian human rights law up here, a hate law so-called, that the Conservative Party of Canada killed, squashed, kicked it off the law books. The Liberals initiated it ages ago. So Stein was up at this conference just roaring against the law and how hard it was to drag it through Parliament, drag it through the Senate, and finally get royal assent to kick the bad law off the books, Section 13. The irony is that there was a one-year gap, although they haven't laid any more charges, but the one-year gap until the hole in the ground with the casket of that stinking law is filled in, is June, this coming June. That they had that one-year gap. But the astounding applause, a standing ovation Stein got for being one of the major fighters against the hate law, as well as the Conservative Party of Canada, as well as Mark Lemire, who was persecuted under that law, and Ezra Levant, and others. And some people nearly had their economic lives crushed. I mean, they did for a while, but they've all built up. A lot of the people that were crushed by the hateful law have rebuilt themselves and are going on with life. But again, I was astounded to see the standing ovation that this guy Mark Stein received from the Conservative audience. It was a roar, killing that law. So you see, a lot of people think that in our so-called extreme right patriotic circles that we're all a bunch of lunatics. But I can tell you that audience, I don't know, what would I guess, looking at the video or the screenshots today, maybe 400 people in the audience, and they were just roaring at the end of Mark Stein's speech on how long it took to squash that law, get that hateful law off the books. And he didn't hold any punches. He just socked it to the Liberals, just socked it to them. So that gives hope, real hope for our approach with our British roots. And Stein referred to that, the fact that we've still got our British traditions in the parliamentary system in Canada, and the new generation coming on has gotten used to it. And a lot of young people at this conference, it was refreshing, clean cut as hell. They're out there. It's really good to know. To be honest, I've always felt that, we've just got a certain area that we can preach to. And I've said, that, when the British People's League and your spokesman here gets a big donation, we can stir things up by hitting the white villages with signs saying, keep our villages majority white, etc. But in a way, I thought, if we get two little gals who would talk a lot in front of the post offices, that made the picket worthwhile and so on. Boy, after this thing today, we've got people out there who talk our language. They're just that close to it. They don't rave about their British heritage. I rave because we've got to get things rolling quicker. But there's people out there. I don't know the American situation with this Rand Paul stuff and the Tea Party and working the way in. This isn't working their way in. I repeat, if you could have seen that standing audience raving with joy that filthy hate law has been squashed. He gave a terrific speech, this Mark Stein writer guy. So there is hope. It's given me fresh hope and the spark for today's broadcast. Now let's see, what was next on the job here? Yes, just to mention again, because it confuses some bloggers and right-wing white advocates in the States that there's still the odd person being persecuted. Well, there is the odd person being persecuted under what's called the hate law. Now you can say, Beattie, you just said the hate law got kicked off the books. Well, that was an equal cousin under the Canadian Human Rights Act, which was passed by the Parliament of Canada. That's dead now, okay? That's been strung up and hung by the neck. Hallelujah. But the other one that remains, I may have hinted in previous shows, It's not that harmful a law. It stops incitement to have us killed. I mean, if some new Canadian type suddenly said we want all the whites killed, openly said so, that's preaching genocide. That's incitement to genocide. Or if some multicult set up, newly arrived, put out videos every day screaming that white people are the filthiest scum of the earth. They may do it inside their religious worship spots, but they don't do it openly because they too would be charged under the hate law. Incitement to hatred is yes, it's in the Criminal Code of Canada. And as I said a couple of shows ago, I don't like repeating it over and over, but to make it solid so that people out there listening understand the difference between the law that got kicked off the books that was used for just the slightest comment. I'd be afraid to call the Liberals a bunch of zombies at that birthday party the other day. I'd be afraid to call a rotten bunch of pukes, because under the previous Canadian human rights law that may have been illegal. And I know Britons are harsher laws in Mother Britannia than here now that this is off the books. It was used to squash a lot of fine people who I'm sure watch these videos, and you know who you are. You've been through the mill, but you're remembered. Don't worry about that. In our circles, you're remembered, because that doesn't help pay the mortgage. But anyway, most people have risen up. Our people are strong, resilient. But the other law that sits there permanently, that's real heavy-duty incitement. Or if you go at it and 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 at it, and you make, say, Jews your sole topic, your sole focus, and you never stop, and it gets pretty damn extreme, then you're liable to be charged by the Attorney General of a province. It has to be the Attorney General of a province that lays that law down. So a couple of people that are still lingering on that, they chose the path they wanted, not being a coward to avoid that hate law. I don't want to go around talking about killing people, killing races of people, or inciting people to rise up and hang them by the neck or whatever. I mean, people who start doing public blogs and so on have to think about that aspect. As I try in these shows to build on the positive. The old song, accent the positive and deflate the negative. Okay. Deflate the negative. Well, deflating the negative is to talk about a positive, of course. The private blind list received a different type of video earlier today, not your usual YouTube Dinosaur News from here. But from here, yes, we sent out the League of the South video, very short video, but showing the 50 League of the South members who were in Tallahassee, Florida, standing at a major intersection. Clean cut, respectable looking bunch, I'll tell you, with their signs, "We don't want to be replaced. We have a right to live." The message was clear. A lot of horns honking and thumbs up. So I sent that video to the blind list. And if you want to see it, you're not on the blind list, Google up League of the South. Get into League of the South. You'll see their Facebook page. That's how I find it, the Facebook page. And click on their Facebook, and then you'll see it there as the Tallahassee demonstration, March the 8th. And as I said in one or two of the videos this week, it's just fantastic having that demonstration back-to-back, Saturday to Saturday, the 8th in the South, and now the 15th global, the White Day, coming up. I'm very proud of our friends in Candor League. They've sent out a bulletin today promoting and supporting 100% without qualification, is that the right way to say it? Without any connections, hesitations, or critique. Just support it. So Candor League come out and they've done their massive emailing today saying support the March 15th White Day. That's great of them. And they've got a promotion on, a sale on, of a lot of their great products. So again, candor.org.uk. Candour.org.uk. So it's a working, boy oh boy. It's so nice to have a function going on for whites that honestly isn't smothered by Third Reich stuff from 1939, okay? A lot of people I'm glad to see in America especially have grown out of the youthfulness and into the real world. We don't want to join the Conservative Party out picketing for them, so we're halfway between real radicals and the Conservative Party of Canada itself here in Canada. And I can also say our Conservative Party is conservative compared to the crap Conservative Party that's over in Britain, the motherland. It's pathetic over there. It really is pathetic. And I witnessed a video of Birmingham, England, the other day. You know, you scour around, you can find multi-cult videos and all the aspects of our cause here. And it's just horrible. It's just beyond belief. You'd swear you were in East Asia. So that's why we're here. It's a hard job for we few who are the spokespeople, including America, Britain, Australia, New Zealand. It's a hard job, though. We're isolated. We're in contact with our blind list, etc. But as so many in the States point out, and I will say again today, I wish that we had an administrative assistant for me. This is a fair-sized house. There's a spare room. Someone could get a job, maybe only minimum wage to start up in the village area. But the British People's League would not charge you any rent whatsoever. So that hopefully would be a nice inducement. Someone who's willing to drive yours truly to meet other blinders in person in the face and stir up the viewers in person, etc. But one little stipulation, though, even volunteer to take on such a position, I'd have to have known of you, or you'd have to be vouched by about 3 people, preferably 1 or 2 on our blinder list. But that's what we're lacking. Just lacking a driver, so we could get rolling instead of just talking. Get rolling. Having said all that, I feel that these shows are worthwhile. We just shortly before the show, I received a notice from YouTube, another subscriber, and this subscriber's young, and it showed his face. So welcome aboard, AC. Okay, his initials. Looks like a sharp young guy, but that is wow. I mean, you know, here's this gray-haired old bird ranting and raving, and yet here's a young fellow who says, I want to subscribe to the Dinosaur News. Obviously, we must appeal to him. So, there's no generation gap with the British People's League. Young and old, we work together. But, you know, along with that nice letter from the old fella in the United Kingdom, who's not computer literate, the other day, and now this young fellow subscribing today, it's slowly picking up. And I'm just laughing because I try and find excuses to myself some days. Oh, well, I have to skip today's show. I was almost thinking, well, I sent out the League of South video. That will substitute for this video. No, can't do that, Johnny boy. You gave your word 5 days a week. No one forced me to. We'll make it. Thank God tomorrow's Friday. In any case, another point, yes, holy smokes, the time is shot. I'll save that point for tomorrow about distractions. Okay, well, I'm thrilled. I hope you are too. I'm glad you tuned in. The dogs are tired of the winter. Everyone is, I'm sure. Good day from the British People's League, Dinosaur News. Talk at you tomorrow, March the 13th, Friday the 13th. That'll be fun.